Hi, everybody. This is Susie from the Speckled Loon, and I am going live just a couple minutes early to check all my settings, make sure everything's working okay. And then at 12 sharp, we will start talking about these projects that I've got. But for right now, what I'm going to do is double check that everything's working on Facebook and YouTube. Then I'm going to silence my other devices and we are going to get started. So just for a minute, I'm going to just quick check on my settings here and make sure that we're ready to roll. Says we're live. Just going to make sure that the volume's working. Okay, Facebook is going good. So I'm going to just silence this device. And I'm going to check on YouTube and make sure that's working okay. And we'll chat a little bit to fill up the time till noon, and then we will get started on our projects and workshop information right at noon. Let's see here. Just waiting for it to come up on YouTube. There it is. On YouTube, there it is. All right, we're good. There's volume and notifications are going out. So that's great. I hope everybody's having a great afternoon. It's Thursday. Here in Grand Forks, North Dakota, we kind of have cloudy skies. So I've got the window open or the shades open on the window without a harsh sunlight on. So that's kind of nice. Okay. I just need to silence this one. I have a new phone here. I've got to figure out how to silence it. There we go. Okay, I think we are ready to roll. It's about 2 minutes before we'll officially start, so I'll just chit chat for a minute. And then if you want to bypass the chit chat, if you're seeing this on the replay, on YouTube, if you're watching, I will have it time stamped as to when we really start working on the projects and everything, because this will serve as a tutorial for those in the workshop also. But today we're going to be talking about and making these projects right here for the Petals and Projects workshop that I've got going on coming up September 11th in Emerado, North Dakota, which is about 15 miles from Grand Forks at Nelson's Pumpkin Patch, which is a fun gathering place. It's during their sunflower days. And we're going to be working on that. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, and I'll go on into that in a little bit more. If you are just joining us, say hello down in the chat. I love to see comments. And if you want to, if you're in the Grand Forks, Emerado, Larimore, that area, and want to sign up for this workshop, I will have I have the link to sign up and get tickets in the chat or in the discussion, and then I will put them in the video description out on YouTube after I'm done doing the video. So we do have 6 spots left. There's 20 spots available. Total, we have 6 left. So I would imagine between now and the 11th, we should fill up. So if you want to attend and make these fun projects, you will want to sign up. So I'm going to start, it's noon sharp. So I'm going to start officially now. Hi, my name is Susie, and I am the owner of the Speckled Loon. And it is a home-based business in Grand Forks, North Dakota, where I make things and go out and do craft fairs. I have a website. And part of my business is we do some workshops. The workshop I am going to be talking about today is the Petals and Project workshop. This is the little box for it. It is on Thursday, September 11th, beginning at 6:30 and going till 9 or whenever we're done, out at Nelson's Pumpkin Patch. And the address for that is 2448 20th Avenue Northeast, Emerado, North Dakota. It's just straight west of Grand Forks on Highway 2. And when you see the first exit for the Air Force Base, you're going to take that, and there'll be signs for Nelson's, or just plug it into your GPS and it's going to take you right there. Nelson's is hosting this fun evening event, which part of it costs initially $40 to get your kit and everything. And then once you get out there, if you want, you will be able to pick sunflowers, get a vase and arrange them, or whatever. Their sunflowers are planted so they'll be in bloom during that time. And if you go out on the Nelson's Pumpkin Patch Facebook page, you will see all the fantastic events they've got going on during their Sunflower Festival days, which are right in that time. I think it's from the beginning of September till about it's like the first 2 weeks of September. They've got a lot of things going on. And then after that, they're in full pumpkin mode and they've got all kinds of things going on. It's a fun family place. This event, however, is an evening event, September 11th, and it is adults only. The reason being is it's set up for adults only because we're going to have the option to purchase adult beverages and do a few other things. She's going to, Carrie, who is one of the owners, she and her husband Todd, is going to have her gift shop open. You, again, can go out and pick pumpkins or sunflowers if you'd like. And then I am going to bring additional things, finished products for you to purchase that will coordinate with this or complement it, or just for other things too. I'll have a little Christmas and all kinds of seasons there. So that's what's going on out at the workshop. And if you have any questions about the workshop, just drop them in the comments and I will read the comments as we go along and try to answer them. But again, the link to sign up is in the comments. I'll have it in the description of the video out on YouTube. And we have 6 spots left out of the 20 spots. So they have been filling up pretty quickly. And it looks like it's going to be a really fun time. The setting out there is beautiful. If you've not been there, it's quite a nice facility and you'll really enjoy it. And I've always wanted to do a little partnership with them, and it's come to fruition. So I'm excited to go out to Nelson's and have this fun sunflower package for everybody to make and take. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you what comes in the kit and all that. And I'm going to actually make the 3 things that you see here with the kit and kind of show you everything that's in there and then what's going to be provided for you. And our workshops are really fun. If you've ever done one before, you know. If you haven't, just take my word for it. Everybody comes away with beautiful projects finished and they are ready to go. And here I've got Polly joining us. Hi, Polly. And she's like, oh, what fun. Yes, our workshops are fun. I don't know if you're local to the Grand Forks area, Polly, or not. But if you are, the link to sign up is in the comments. And you'll see it's just like that. So you can just click on that and sign up and reserve your spot or buy a spot too for a friend, that type of thing. We've had several people that buy 4, and so it's somebody that's bought for themselves and then 3 other friends. Oh, Fargo, well, you can still make it. But anyway, I'm going to talk about each project and then we are going to make them. I'm going to flip the camera here in a minute. So it's going to be an overhead shot so you can watch while I make. I'm not that fancy where I have 2 cameras yet. I keep saying I'm going to figure it out. I've kind of got it figured out, but not 100%. So I didn't dare do it today. I'm dealing with tech issues. I'm switching from an old phone to a new phone. And if you know, you know, there's always like everything works, but the 5% of like really important things. Like for me, group messaging isn't working. Whatever. I got to figure that out. So, but anyway, so we're going to talk about the projects. So I'm going to set my mouse down here for a second. And the projects are pretty fun and easy, and they come partially started for you. So they're easy to get done in the evening, so you're not toiling away 10 o'clock at night trying to finish a project. There's only 3 in this workshop, so it's pretty easy to do. And a couple of things are pre-made for you, so you don't have to do anything with them other than enhance them a little bit. So the first project is this teeny little sign here. It says, "You are my sunshine." And I'll show you what it looks like in the kit, but we've got this little etched in, "You are my," and then the sunshine that you're going to color that word. And that word has got a piece of backing on it. So it's just like a sticker, but you can see it's got a little thickness to it. There you go. And that's fun. And then it comes also with this little two-piece stand to set it on. And the stand is already ready for you to go. You just slip, it's one of those slotted stands where you just slip the two pieces together and it's ready to go. The second project is this big, beautiful sunny sign. And isn't that fun? I think that is such a pretty, pretty piece of, I think it looks like art. It's a big, beautiful sunflower in the bottom with the word sunny in the background in this pretty frame. And it's all, you can see, like that. And the frame is going to come pre-stained, and you see that inner part that's colored black there. That's a separate part that's going, you can color whatever color you want. And then the background, you paint that green. And then the sunflower parts come pre-painted yellow, the petals do, but then I'm going to show you how to enhance them. You see I've got some shading going on there with that. Okay, and that also comes with a beautiful, handy little stand. And if you are here, just comment below. I'd love to hear from you. All right, that. And then the third thing is this fun little sunflower sign bushel basket, and then this insert. Now the bushel basket is a piece of its own. It comes pre-done, and it holds not only this insert, but I'll bring more inserts for you to purchase if you would like. I have many interchangeable basket inserts that I've made for the fall, and they all work with this little bushel basket. So you can get more if you want to get a Christmas one or a pumpkin one or something like that. So what we're going to be making today is this mini sign, this bigger sign, and this insert right here. And then you might have noticed this nice wood bead garland that's on here. That's pre-made also, and that comes with your kit. And I love it because it's a neutral, so it's going to actually go with summer decor, spring, winter, whatever, but it's just kind of a fun little accent to have. And I always get asked about this little stand. I'm not sure if they have them anymore, but it's a plant stand from Hobby Lobby, and it's really great to serve as like a tiered tray for displaying our mini decor, any little decor that you might pick up. And it's kind of nice to have just one little place where you decorate instead of having an occasion throw up all over your house and having to have big totes. I like to say our interchangeable decor, you could fit a whole year's worth in a shoebox and just swap it out for seasons and holidays. So I'm going to set this down here and try not to knock anything over. And I am going to flip the camera here in a minute, and then you're going to be seeing my work surface here and what I'm going to be working with. Just going to move the keyboard out of the way. And then when we're done, I'll flip it back around and we'll be working, talking face to face again. But it's just easier, and you get a nice picture of what I'm doing and making with the projects as we go along. So I am going to flip this down. This is our stand for our little camera. And I'm going to take the camera here. So you're going to go on a little flippy journey. So pardon me, don't get dizzy. And bring it down so we can see my work surface here. And then we'll adjust. Always got cord issues. There we go. All right. So that's good. Just going to, here we go. There and there. I like to get it as straight as I can. That looks pretty straight. Okay, I'll move my mouse. And I'll put that more in the center. And then, so this is the box you're going to get when you come to the workshop. All right. So this is what this looks like. It's got this nice label on the front. And then when you open it up, it's going to have this scan for info. This is if you don't finish for some reason, or if we have any extra kits to sell, this is going to have a link to this video that we're seeing right here that you'll just scan with your phone, and then you can use it as instructions. While you're at, I have a little brief overall instruction booklet for the workshop. It just shows things and how it's styled and everything, and basically what's in the kit. Kind of just a brief overall. This is that garland that you're going to get. That's pre-made, so that we set that aside. You're going to get this little bundle of tools. It is some super glue, some Q-tips, some toothpicks, and 4 of these nice makeup wedges. That's what we're going to use to paint, and we've got paint markers. On the tables, everybody's going to have a full set of paint, and then you're going to have a 24 or 12 pack of these fun, either these markers or another brand. I bring all kinds of different ones for everybody to try. All right. And then here is our pre-made basket. It comes with a little stand. I'm just going to leave that wrapped up for now. And then our projects. So there's that little mini sunshine. You can see this is already pre-stained. And here's our little word we're going to paint. And then the stand. The basket insert. And again, a lot of it is pre-stained or pre-primed. And then we're just going to color and do some accents. And then this right here is the sunny sign that I was telling you about. And I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to put, I've already got my own glue and stuff out, so I'm going to save that and set all these things aside for now. But this is what's nice is when everything's done, it's going to fit back into this little box that you can keep everything in when you are not displaying your stuff. So it just fits in this little 9x6 by 3-inch or 2-inch deep box. And you can just stick it in a drawer on a shelf or whatever. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. When I am crafting, I like to use a paper plate. And this helps me keep everything in camera and everything. And then I like to use tape to kind of adhere. I use it as double stick tape, painter's tape, to adhere everything to the plate because some of the stuff is small or little. And then we've got, like I said before, I've got all kinds of markers I'm going to be using. And then when you come to the workshop, there's going to be a big thing of paint in front of you. I've just got a couple things out, but the paint we're going to be using is these small little 2-ounce acrylic craft paints from this one. It's from Michael's, but you can get them at Walmart or anything in various colors. And then I like to do some stuff with this antique wax, some shading and stuff. So we'll talk about that. And I'm just using a different kind of glue. You get a super glue too. I just have it in this bottle because I do so much. I have a great big bottle and I just refill this one all the time of super glue. So we'll do that. And when you come to the workshop, you'll have this fun little a tool like this. It's called a pin pen where you can etch paint out and do some things with. And you're also going to have some clamps. We'll need those when we're working with things. So all the paint, everything's going to be supplied to you, which is great. I try to think that you just come to the workshop and we have everything and then you leave with a full set. So the first thing we are going to do is I'm going to just set this, we're going to work on this sunny sign, okay? And I'm going to open it up because part of that we're working with needs to have a couple coats of paint on it. So I'm going to just do one coat, let that dry, work on other projects, and then come back and do the second coat. But everything comes wrapped in its own little bag, so you shouldn't have a lot of little pieces flying about. And here is that sunny project. We will set our 2-piece stand aside for now, but just so you know, this is how that goes together. The upper slot and lower slot go together, and then you have a two-piece stand. But when not in use, you take it apart and it stores flat, which is really nice. So it doesn't take up any space. And then the sunny word comes in a couple of parts. And if one breaks off or something, it's adhesive like a sticker, it just goes back on just fine. We're just going to set that aside. It comes pre-primed white. So all you have to do is paint it with one of your markers. Okay. All right. And then we've got this frame, and it's got two pieces to it. This is the outer part of the frame, and it's pre-stained. It's not as dark as this one. I did this one a little lighter, but yours is going to be dark like this. Okay. And it's got this intersection of the frame, and I am going to color that with a paint marker. I did this one black, and I think I will do this one black as well. I like the contrast and the farmhouse look of the black with the brown. All right. And then the parts of the sunflower are pre-painted, this nice yellow color, kind of a sunflower yellow. And the reason I do that is we're doing sunflowers and they all start out yellow. But if you notice on this one, there's a lot of shading and stuff. That's part of the workshop that we're going to do. And then the center comes pre-stained brown. I might use that antique wax to make it a little darker. But I'm just going to set all these other little parts aside for now. And what we're going to work on is our backer. Now you'll notice it's got etching on here. This etching is a placement guide. It's slightly smaller than the actual thing that goes over it. And so you use it as a guide, and then you don't see those lines after all. So we're going to paint this, and if those lines get covered up, it's fine because you're going to be able to see them faintly through there. They're just a guide. They don't need to be, painted around or anything like that. We'll paint right over them. They'll kind of disappear, which is fine, but you'll still be able to see them for placement. So what I'm going to do here is on this mat, I've got a little spot where I can drip out some paint. So I'm going to use this. This is called Shamrock, this color, but really whatever you want to do. If you want to make your background orange or paint it white or stain it brown, whatever you would want to do with it is fine. I like the contrast of the green in the background with the yellow and the bright words. And on this one, I just left the words white. So I think I'll do the same on this one too. But I'm going to just pour out a little bit of this green into this little paint well that I've got here. This is just a silicone mat. It's got paint wells and different things like that. And I just got it on Temu or whatever, but they've got them on Amazon too. Just search silicone craft mat and you can find any number of options. But as you can see, I'm taking this, and you can see why I said you probably need 2 coats. So it gets to be this nice, and it does dry a bit darker than it goes on. And when I paint, I just use these sponges, and it goes on nice and smooth, and you do not get brush marks when you use the sponges, which is fantastic. So there, I'm just getting a little more paint. And what I like to do is I always say the second coat makes it better. The second coat always evens everything out, but I try to get as good of a first coat on as possible, but not overly thick. Okay. I'm going to kind of do this up here so you can see what I'm doing, and also so I don't shake the table as I'm painting and shake the camera. And I hope you can see everything okay. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set all this aside, let it dry, and then we will come back in a minute or two after we've done some of our other projects and get that second coat on. It goes on a little splotchy the first. If you see a spot you missed, just go right there. I try not to get over the edge. I like to keep my edges as clean as possible. If I do, I can go back over them with a brown or black marker, or just while it's wet, wipe it with a wet cloth or wet end of a sponge. But that is coat number 1. I'm just going to set that aside. Okay. And set the other parts of this aside. for now. Get that out of the way. And we're going to work on the petals. And the center. I was telling you I want to make it darker like this one. Okay. So whenever I've got something pre-stained and I want to make it darker, instead of using brown paint, I like to use this antique wax. It acts like a stain almost itself, and it gives some nice, you can use it to shade and distress, and it's got kind of a translucent quality to it, and I will have that at the workshop. You can see well, it's got that darker tint to it. And what I may do here is with a black marker or a brown marker, go in and fill in those circles like I did on this one. But I'm just going to set that aside right now and let that dry. And I'm going to talk about, I'm going to show at the workshop some different techniques to use. Today, the technique I'm going to use is with a sponge and an orangish marker to do some highlights on the inside. And then I'm going to have a marker where I do some highlights on the outsides of the petals. So what I like to do is, and you can do this with paint or you can do it with a paint marker. I like to take a contrast or like a complementary color. So what I'm doing here is this is kind of an orangey marker called vermilion. It's kind of a fall rusty orange, I would like to call it. And I'm just putting a little bit on a sponge like this. And I am going to go right along here and brush it. And as you can see, that gives you just that little bit of orange in the middle of the sunflower like I have on our sample piece here. And I like to go very subtle with it, but it just gives it that little bit of dimension as opposed to coloring it on directly with the marker. And it's more subtle. But you can see where you get that effect, kind of an ombre almost. And it's really an easy technique. Anybody can do it. Again, if you're an expert shader and like to float paint and do all that stuff and be fancy, that's great. I am not an advanced painter by any means with a brush and freehanding. So I really like to do this. Like I said, if you have a little bit of paint, you could do it and then dab the paint off. So this is almost dry. I like to call it a dry brush technique, even though we're using a sponge. Okay. So that's what that looks like. And it gets that little extra part to it. And then if you want to do some other shading, you can take, I've got little pieces of sponge all over. You can take a marker, and this is just a little bit of a lighter yellow. And then just go along one side of each petal. And let's see here. This is going to be, that's the middle. This is the other side. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. Just along the edge there. And you can see it gives it just a little bit of a light highlight. And I just kind of try to do the same highlight along each edge. And you could blend those in if you want, but it's a very subtle change, but it gives that little bit of dimension look to the actual piece itself. So I was telling you what I can do here is take a black marker. I've got one here. And fill in these dots just very carefully. Like when they're small, I'll just do a dot. And it just gives it that little bit of extra dimension again on our piece. Kind of like those dots in the middle, when you've got all your seeds and everything. Okay. So that is what that looks like, all those little pieces. So I'm going to see if this is dry enough yet for a second coat. And I believe it is. Anything you need to do with a second coat, and if you can see this going, I always do that first and then come back to it later. And this is going to go together just like a puzzle, basically, in that frame. But that's what we've got going on for the sunflower so far. Okay, so we'll set that aside. And we'll do our second coat, and then we'll finish up doing the rest of our sunflower after that second coat dries. Because we'll have to put it all together in the frame. All right, got my little paint well filled up. And you can see where that second coat is going on. Really nice. And that's the beauty. These are actually makeup wedges. They're made for putting on makeup, so that goes on smooth and nice, and it works perfect for paint. So I get mine from Amazon, but you can get them in a bag at Walmart, the Dollar Tree. These are super dense ones. The ones at Dollar Tree are not as dense, and they're a little too porous for what I like to do. So I order these in bulk from Amazon, and they're just the Amazon Basics ones. And you get, I think 16 or 20 in a pack, something like that. And they, like I said, you can double duty and use them for your makeup too if you want. And you can see here's where I have one coat, here's where I have two, how much nicer it looks after two coats. All right. So like I said, I'm going to leave the word white just like it comes pre-primed, just to make this one easy. I'm going to let this one dry, and once that one's dry, we will come back and put together with the frame. Oh, we've got to color that part of the frame too. We will put together the frame and everything, all the parts of this. I'll set it aside for now. We want to color that inner part of the frame. So what I do there is these skinny pieces, the easiest thing to do is use a paint marker. Paint markers are our friends in these small, tiny projects. If this was a big piece of wood, I would obviously be using paint and a paintbrush or a sponge of some sort. But I feel like this does a great job. Now the paint markers I'm using here are the Sharpie paint markers. You can find these online, on Amazon, and they have them at Walmart. Over where all the Sharpies are sold is where my Walmart has them. And they're called the Creative Marker. That's the one you want to get. It's filled with acrylic paint, not regular marker ink. So it gives you that look of paint instead, and you can blend things. And these also are very opaque. And so they are said to be good for using if you do painting on rocks. Where you paint up a rock and leave it. These Sharpie Creative Markers are meant for that too. So they do a great job of coverage, as you can see. Okay. And then when everything is dry for this, we'll put this all together, and you'll see how nicely it comes all together. All right, so there's that. Put my lid back on my marker, set that aside with all my other parts of this beautiful sunny sign. And once our background is dry, we'll put that all together. I'm going to set that aside as well. And our next project we're going to do is this fun little tiny, teeny, tiny sign. This "You Are My Sunshine." I will get that out. And basically this comes pre-stained, pre-finished brown. We're going to do a little highlighting on that. And then the sunshine comes pre-done white, but we are going to paint that up with some yellow and some orange markers to get this ombre effect. So I'll get that out. It's little, it's palm size. It's about 2.5 inches square, 2.3 inches actually. Here is the base. Okay, you can see it's lighter. I did this one lighter, but I'm going to do a little shading on it and show you that. And then we've got the word sunshine. That's pre-primed white. We are going to use our markers to color that up. And we've got our stand. Our stand will just set aside. It's just like the bigger one where you just put together that slotted. Oh, I see I've got another person joining me, Joyce. Hi, Joyce. She's joining us on Facebook. Dear friend of mine, one of the moms of my best friends from school. So this, I'm just going to take that antique wax and I'm going to go around the border of this and just do a little highlighting on it. And you can see that subtle difference that makes. I really like this antique wax. It's easy to add more or take some away. It just gives a real subtle shading to things, kind of that antique-y look or rustic look or distress look, whatever you like to call it. I'm not a big, I don't like the chip paint look, but I do like a little shading and distressing now and again. And you can see that once we put this on there, that kind of really comes to life as far as the shading on it. So that's all I'm going to do there. And that was just a little bit of that antique wax on a sponge and going around. Okay. Okay, the magic on this little sign comes when we decide to color our word sunshine. So I am going to go over it first with a yellow marker, and then I'm going to do some accents on it with an orange marker. So similar to what we did with those sunflower petals. The reason I have this pre-primed white is if I just did it and cut it normally, like with this natural color that the wood is, the colors just don't pop when you put them on. When you paint them, the paint marker takes better when it is pre-primed white. So that I do that for all my workshops and in a lot of, like if I sell a kit, because it just gives for a better end result. You're not doing 99 coats of paint. And here I just made a little tape loop. And I'm going to put that down on there. And this, again, has got that adhesive backing. It's got a paper protective backing on it right now. And these are pretty delicate, so I try to be careful as I can with them. But you can see I've got the U and the N. I've started with that yellow, and see how nice that pops. And this little ombre technique that I'm going to use, I use it a lot on words. I think it gives them extra dimension. I'll cut them out in one color and then go over with another color and get that ombre look. So I've got that all colored white, or all colored yellow over the white. And if I missed anything, I'm just going to go in. I like to take a quick look here. If you close up eyes, because I'm blind as a fruit bat if I don't have my glasses on. There we go. All right. So then I've got this kind of another orange marker. This one's a more of a subtle orange. And I'm just going to take the same sponge and I'm going to go along the bottom here and just kind of shade it in ever so slightly with this orange marker. And then I'm going to blend it. Looks a little sloppy now, but you can kind of see what I've got going on. And I'm just going to blend, kind of daub it. And it just gives it this nice little subtle color, kind of like a sunrise or a sunset, kind of an orange to a yellow. It doesn't show up the greatest on camera. It's a little more vibrant to the live eye. I'll probably just go over this a second time, just so it shows up a little better on the camera. And just see that little subtle blending with the sponge. And yeah, that second time looks better. You can see a little bit better now. And pardon the dirty fingertips there. That's from the antique wax. And I'm sure each one of my fingernails is a different length, but that's what you get when you're a crafter, right? So that is what that looks like now. All we need to do to finish this is adhere this. And rather than use glue and have glue seeping out, this has got a special backing here. And you just take this paper backing off. This is where we use our little pin tool that you're going to get at the workshop to use. And we pull that off. And the backing of this is a clear adhesive backing. So this is essentially a sticker. And then we have got this as our guideline to adhere it. Okay, so I'm just going to place it slightly over. And like I said, that etching is just an outline, a little bit smaller than the actual word, so that when you adhere it, you do not see that line at all. And then this one is done. Now, how quick and easy was that project? And look at the result you get for very little effort. I really like a high return on visual with not a lot of extra work. So there's this one or this one. I use just a couple different shades, but this one is done. And we're going to set that aside for now with our little cookie stamp. Okay, so this one is done. And then that just takes us to our third project, which is our sunflower farm insert for our basket. And finished project of that looks like this. Okay, we use a lot of, sorry about that, I moved the camera. We use a lot of the same techniques with our words and our actual sunflower. So I'm going to just set that right there. Okay. And on this one, I did it all in yellow, but on the one here, I'm going to do the word farm in a couple shades of green and the word sunflower, of course, in the yellow and orange, just like we did for our sunshine. Okay, so we've got all these pieces, and our words on this one also have that adhesive backing on them. And this is got our pre-stained. And again, if I wanted, I could go around here and kind of just make it a little darker with my antique wax if I wanted. And the nice thing about that is it just gives that little translucent accent. Nothing that you need to worry about getting clumped up or too much paint. It's more like a stain. I would compare it to like a gel stain or a glaze. That's what that wax is to me, that antique wax. All right. And so I'm going to set that aside. That's quick and easy. And the nice thing about that, dries in an instant. So I'm going to use a couple of shades of green on the word farm. I'm going to use this Arteza marker first. This you can get right on Amazon, and you come in a 40 pack. So if you seriously want every color of the rainbow, this is the marker to get. I'm going to do it in this deep kind of foresty green first, and then we're going to come back and do a little light green ombre on the bottom, just for something different. So you can see how you can make these projects your own You don't have to paint them my way. You can paint whatever color you want. I did one, a 4th of July one, or a summer one, where some people were doing pinks and purples for summers. Some were doing patriotic. So it's just whatever is your preference. I'm going to let that on the farm dry. And then we're going to come in and do a little shading. We've got the word sunflower, and the S is kind of funky. The S is on top, a little on the bottom. Okay, just keep that in mind. And it's just separate and not connected with the rest of the word. It's just separated a little bit by it. So I'm going to come in with my yellow. On the S. And have that done. And then the unflower, the rest of the word sunflower. I'm going to come in on that with my yellow as well. And you can see where this paint markers really make quick and easy work of these projects. We would be here all day with paints trying to, not get them goopy or whatever. If you wanted to do paint, you could go over that with those Q-tips that I provide. I really just prefer the markers for these skinny little pieces. They just give you a lot more creative freedom, and it gives you a nice, clean, finished project. The end result is just a lot better with the markers, I feel. Okay, so I've got that yellow, the sunflower whole word. So now what I want to do is I am going to come in here, just going to get the S there so it's the same. I'm going to come in with my orange marker just like I did on the sunshine and add that little bit of orange on the bottom just to give it dimension. I mean, it's pretty as it is with the yellow, but I just feel like that shading, that ombre look, just gives it that little bit of something that you don't get otherwise. And I'm just going kind of like along the each letter, random heights and everything, just to give it, like I said, that sunrise, sunset, ombre look. And that's all there is to that. If I wanted to blend it in a little bit, I could. This is kind of pretty gradual as it is. But again, I could take my sponge, kind of blend it up. But it just gives it that little extra bit. I don't know if you can see it there on camera or not. It's hard to see. The lighting is my struggle. So the other thing I'm going to do here is, while I've got this orange marker out, I'm going to just draw a little bit here in the middle of the sunflower that's going to get covered up. I'm going to bring a little bit of that shading out. So these very little tips of the insides of the sunflower are going to get shaded. Now it's not really showing up. This is what I like to do. I like to play with my shades. So I'm going to get this vermilion back out again and do a little bit of that in there, because this isn't going to show. And I'm just going to hit that and blend it out a little bit, because this middle is going to get covered up, and then you'll just see that very subtle shading. I'm going to come out and do just a little bit farther and do that. And then, as you can see, that's all that you see in there is that shading. So I'm going to get a little more aggressive with it, since most of it gets covered up. Now, the other thing that you can use that works really good with this is watercolor pencils. And if you come to the workshop, I will have some watercolor pencils with me. I like that better. we'll do some shading with those as well. And that gives you a really nice subtle effect. And then here again, I think what I'm going to do as an accent is just take my lighter, get some gunk on there, take my lighter yellow and just do a little accent at the tip of each petal. You know, they get a little flowers, have variation in them. They have a little yellow, a little bit lighter colors on the outside usually. And very subtle, but you can see that where you got just that little bit lighter color. I like to just clean up my markers sometimes just by writing a little bit on them. Okay, so now we are ready to finish up on our green, and then we can put this little piece together. So I'm going to set these aside. We'll work on this, and I have got a lighter green marker here. This is another Sharpie Creative marker. And I'm just going to come down here on the bottom of each letter and do a little touch of light green. So it's just, and again, this is optional. Some people don't like the look. I just blend it in with my finger sometimes, or a sponge. Just to get that little bit of extra dimension or ombre look to it. And I'll lighten that up. There we go. And it looks better on once I get it off that tape. Another thing people like to do is to take a finer tip and maybe go, you know, a little bit like that. But there's just a lot of different things you can do. Here's more of a limey green. Ooh, that really goes. Add some. You can fuss with it, and if you don't like it, then you just go over it with the dark green again and leave it. So that is our word farm. So we're going to start putting our sunflower farm together. And again, it's got everything etched out for easy placement. And where you need to put it. So basically, that's going to go right there. Our word farm will go here, and our word sunflower will go here. So I think I'm going to leave the sunflower part for last. And I'm going to come in here and do the big one unflower piece here. And then the S afterwards. But you can see what that looks like on that dark brown. Here again, you'll have this tool at the workshop. I provide everybody with this tool to use during the workshop, and then basically everything in the box is for you to keep, and all the paints and markers and everything just go back to me at the end of the workshop. It's a great way to try stuff out without having to buy a ton of supplies yourself and invest a lot of money. You just buy the kit and put everything together that way. Okay, so there's goes right over that placement mark. And now you don't see those lines at all. You just see the word. And then we're going to get the S on there. Again, take this, pull it off. If you're doing this at home and don't have a little pin pen, a straight pin, or if you're blessed with good fingernails, those work well as well. Okay, so we've got the word sunflower on there. Now we're going to do the word farm. I like to do the big chunky part first and then put in the one that's detached last. So we'll do arm out of farm. There we go. See how that's all coming together now. And how handy those placement marks are for those of us that visually just can't see where things are going to go with a blank slate. There we go. Now, the thing about these stickers, they're one and done. Once they're down, they're down. So there's not a lot of wiggle room. So you just kind of want to be sure of your placement and then attach them. The sunflower and the little middle part, they do not have an adhesive backing. They've got more surface area to hold that glue. And you can do the glue on the piece itself. And when you use this gel super glue, yours will come in a tube, but you just do a lot of little dots. And then it adheres pretty darn fast. So here again, you've got a few seconds of wiggle room. So to be sure with your placement, it lines right up on the bottom edge and then along with those lines. And now remember, we got that funky looking middle, but as soon as we get our center on, it's going to look great. And as you can see, it's already all attached really with that glue has set already. Like I said, you've got a few seconds and that's it. So that is our sunflower farm piece. So you tell me, what do you like? Do you like it with all the yellow or you like with that green accent on the farm? I kind of like the green accent on the farm. So, just need to do a potential spam call. Ignore. So that is the two different ways that is. And so when you come to the workshop, you can do it however you want. If you want to leave the word farm white, you can. Paint it brown, you can. Whatever you want to do. But those are a couple different look options for you. So now we have got these two pieces completely done. Now all we need to do is go ahead and put together this little. It's got two coats. I think it's going to be fine. It's got a frame that's going to be covering part of it. So this is our green backer. And then our frame. And that's what we're going to put together first. So these are engineered to be the exact same size. So they line up. I'm just going to get this out of the way. And it's a square. So if it goes this way or that way, does not matter. But it is a square. Okay. So first, we are going to put together these two parts. So what we're doing here is going to the back and just doing dots and lines of this glue. You can barely see it on there, but it's a super glue, just like what you're going to have is a gel super glue. You have a few seconds of work time. So I always like to do a dry fit, just like I did before. But and I like to have one piece in one hand, one piece in the other hand, and kind of get lined up on a level surface first. And just kind of wiggle it into place and make sure all my corners meet up. Now, what I like to do here, and then when you come to the workshop, you're going to have some clamps. I like to do a clamp in each corner, big or little, and just let that set well while I work on the rest. Okay? And it's real subtle, but you can still see the sunny and the outline of your flower there. Okay? And that's important. Now we are going to take our middle insert part. Remember, that fits right in there. And we're going to get that glued in place. Like I said, if you're watching this on the replay on YouTube, I am going to have everything timestamped below. So if you need to get to a specific project or part, you can just click on that timestamp. Okay. On Facebook, they don't do timestamps, and Facebook Lives disappear after 30 days anyway, but it will live forever on YouTube. That's why I do it on both platforms. All right, so now I'm just going to kind of press that into place, and that just fits perfect. That's the beauty of cutting things with this laser cutter I have. It's precise. Everything is the exact same every time. If I was doing that by hand, that would be impossible to have these fun little accents. So now we are going to work on our word, and I'm going to just show you a couple of things when I have this done. If you see a little bit of light paint that came through, remember I was telling you Sometimes you're going to get paint. I got a little bit of green paint on that edge. This is the beauty of a black Sharpie. There we go. You take your black Sharpie or black paint pen, whatever you want, and you just draw on that line and it disappears. So it's like your foundation cover up, basically. A lot of makeup references today. I don't wear a lot of makeup, but there's parts of it that are good, right? Okay. See again, I'll do that one more time on this side. There's just a little streak of green there. Go with that black, and she's done. And it's crisp and even and looks great now. So, first things first, we'll do our word sunny. Okay, that's going to go right up there, the S-U-N-N. Super delicate, but like I said, if they break apart, you can just still glue them up. Try to stay on camera here. When I was doing this, I thought, I want to make this easy, but be customizable. And so we're not painting base colors all day. I like to get those base colors on for you. And then when you come to the workshop, you can envision how you want to customize them yourself. Pardon me if I'm getting my head in the shot. I'm going to just take this off camera real quick to make sure I have it lined up well. I have to get up close. There we go. So that's covering those marks, S-U-N-N. The Y is separate because it's not connected. And I think it was, but it broke off actually, but good example. Just take that. That's what these fun little, score marks are for. And again, I'm just going to make sure I'm all lined up with the Y. There we go. So I have that. Now, if you remember, this all goes together like a puzzle. And what's the beauty of it is it rests right at the bottom. So we're going to take our 3 parts. I've got this one. And we just want to make sure and it just butts right up against that frame. Again, beauty of the laser cut, right? Butts right up against there. We've got our middle piece of petals and our bottom piece of petals. Okay, so all we're going to do here here's where I like to use my clamps. I like to clamp things in place. So I'm going to clamp that middle one in place. And if you have the shorter clamps, that might not work, but I'm going to just kind of hold that in place with this bigger clamp. And then I'm going to do these petals on the outside, and then I'm going to pop the middle out and get that glued in. But once you have it in place, and you can use tape to do that too. And I do have painter's tape and the small clamps at the class. There's that. Press down on that. And I just did a little bit of glue. You don't need a ton. That's the nice thing about this gel super glue. You just put it kind of in the middle. You don't need to get edge to edge. And you press down and it clamps on like nobody's business. And that is a no-brainer where it goes because it fits right over that cutout. That's, again, the beauty of a laser. Okay. And now I'm going to get this last piece. All right, we are almost done. And we started painting about 1:15 or 12:15, so this has been less than an hour it took to do these 3 projects, and you're going to have 2.5 hours at the workshop. Just going to get that popped out. There we go. Now, if I want, I can do my glue in here or in here on the back. Either way is going to work, and it should just pop right back in as to where we had it, and it does. And there are our 3 projects all finished. So I'm going to lay them side by side here without all this extra stuff in the way, and then we'll put them up on the display. So here's what we made today, and these are the 3 things you're going to be making at the workshop. Tell me what you think. I think they look really fun, and I love painting sunflowers. I grew up on a sunflower farm. They're near and dear to my heart. I think they're near and dear to a lot of people's hearts around here. And then again, this is going to go right into there. Like that. All right. And then these 2 will have stands. So I'm going to flip the camera around again. I'm going to bring out that little stand. We are going to put everything together that we made today along with the garland so you can see the projects and go from there. So I'm going to do a little flippy flip with the camera. You're going to go on a ride again. See my ceiling. Always trick to get it just right. So there. Okay, we're not off my head or anything. We'll get rid of this. All right, and we're going to put everything on that shelf that I had out earlier. And then you can see it all displayed together. So, okay, we've got our shelf. We'll put this in the middle. Our sunny, we've got our garland already. Our sunny. Our You Are My Sunshine. And our sunflower farm. So that's everything that we made today in the Petals and Projects box that we were going to get at the workshop. The Petals and Project workshop. Again, the link to sign up for the workshop, which is on September 11th from 6:30 to 9 out at Nelson's Pumpkin Patch in Amaretto, is in the comments, and I'll put it in the description too in YouTube. And also, there's an event out on my page. You can go to that event, and that will take you to the place to purchase the tickets. Cost $40 per person, 21 and over only. No extra, like 2 buddies can't work on the same kit. You know, you have to come, no pets, anything like that. But you just come yourself and work on it. If you're bringing a buddy, they have to purchase a kit. Okay, and the only way to purchase one is to sign up for the workshop. All right. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on social media. You can message me right on Facebook, Instagram, whatever your favorite thing is. There's always a way to reach me under the Speckled Loon. My name is Susie, and I'm the owner of the business. And I've created this kit for you to do. We have 6 openings only. So you will want to sign up as soon as possible. I'm pretty sure this will sell out. In addition to the kit, you can go pick pumpkins, you can go pick sunflowers, you can get a vase to arrange sunflowers. We have, you can do that for the first half hour, and then we're going to start painting and stuff at 7 o'clock. And I can make it. It's going to be a fun time. I'm looking forward to it. If you need to reach out to Nelson's Pumpkin Patch, they have a Facebook page, and you can ask questions there too. Carrie and I are working closely together on this, and she's excited to start welcoming people out to the patch for the 2025 season. And they always kick off with their sunflower festivals right away in September, and then they transition into the pumpkin season. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, but I'm going to say goodbye for now and sign off and end the stream. And I will see you hopefully out in Amaretto on September 11th. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you soon online or in person. Have a great day.